Hey everyone, welcome back to the Illusions Unraveled podcast. I'm your co host, Jessica, and joining me is our favorite expert on collapsing illusions, Zenson Tran, author of The Reluctant Architect Engineering the Collapse of Human Illusions. Zenson, always a pleasure.
Thanks, Jessica. I'm excited to dive into one of my absolute favorite topics, creating the no escape moment. It's a technique for making sure once people see the truth, there's no going back to the old way of thinking.
I love it. You've described the no escape moment as that pivotal instant in which illusions collapse so completely, the audience can't even pretend to rebuild them. Sounds intense. Shall we walk through how to make it happen?
Absolutely. The essence of the no escape moment is this: if a belief can crack but still be patched up, it's not really gone. We need that stark clarity, a psychological dead end that forces full acknowledgement of a new truth. Three things collide here: utter certainty. The person knows on a visceral level the old belief won't hold. Emotional weight. It's felt, not just understood intellectually. Vanishing escape routes. Any attempt to rationalize or revert only highlights the old belief's absurdity.
So it's not just about presenting information, it's about removing every possible loophole. Once you do that, the mind cannot revert to the old lens without a willful act of denial. Let's start with step one: build tension. How do we set the stage for a no escape moment?
First, you want to establish familiar ground. Let them nod along, feeling safe in a shared assumption. Then you introduce subtle discrepancies, overlooked facts, or minor contradictions. Finally, you escalate the conflict with further evidence that intensifies the pressure.
So it's like a suspense movie. You let the audience get comfortable, then drop hints that something isn't adding up, right?
Exactly. Think of the small, nagging cracks that eventually become impossible to ignore. By the time you deliver that final blow, the tension is so high that people are almost craving the collapse. Because deep down, they sense something is fundamentally off.
Okay, so once we've built that tension, step two is present the revelation. How do we do that effectively?
You want to topple the last supporting pillar of the illusion. This might be a dramatic unveil, like a twist ending in a film or a powerful experiment in a classroom. And crucially, you tie it to an emotional anchor: shock, betrayal, or relief, so it sticks.
I love that. It's not about piling on tons of evidence, right? It's about providing one piercing revelation that makes denial look absurd.
Exactly. Too many facts can feel overwhelming or be brushed off. One well placed insight, with the right emotional charge, can do more to demolish an illusion than a thousand lesser arguments.
That leads right into step three: trigger an emotional response. Why is emotion so critical?
Because logic alone doesn't hold if people aren't emotionally invested. When you connect the revelation to personal stakes, like their identity or moral code, they can't shrug it off. That triggers a real, visceral reaction and makes ignoring the collapse almost a betrayal of their own emotional truth.
So if they feel it, like genuine shock or empathy, that moment locks in. Without that emotional hook, the mind can simply nod and then slide back into old beliefs.
Precisely. The difference between, oh, interesting, and I can never see this the same way again, is all about emotional weight.
Once you've got them emotionally engaged, step four is to remove all exit doors. This sounds like sealing off any chance to rationalize away the truth.
Yes, after the big reveal, people might instinctively try to salvage their old perspective. So you systematically dismantle each possible defense, confront every counter argument in advance, demonstrate the cost of return so it feels unthinkable to go back, invite self reflection, letting them articulate why the old belief no longer works.
I can imagine this being powerful in a classroom scenario. Like a student who sees a math concept proven so thoroughly that any lingering doubt only makes them look willfully ignorant.
Exactly. Once the old worldview is rendered implausible, continuing to believe, it feels like an act of self deception.
Finally, step 5. Offer a brief glimpse of a new framework. We don't want to leave people in total existential freefall, right?
Correct. When illusions collapse, it can be disorienting. You don't have to provide a whole new belief system. Just give them a direction or principle for thinking more expansively. Maybe a single anchor like, be prepared to question any conclusion, or a guiding question that suggests new pathways.
I love that. It prevents them from either adopting a new illusion out of fear or feeling aimless. You're basically saying, here's a stable stepping stone. Try it out.
Exactly. It keeps the awakening constructive and ensures they can integrate the realization into real life rather than flailing or reverting.
Now, I know you also mention how to solidify this no escape moment through immediate practice, accountability, or even a public declaration. Why are these follow ups so important?
Because without reinforcement, people might slip back into complacency. Having them practice the new perspective, join a network of like minded peers, or openly state their transformation cements that final shift. It makes returning to the old illusion even less likely.
It reminds me of those personal aha moments we sometimes get in a seminar, then forget. Unless we do something about it, it fades, right?
Exactly. Committing to an action or sharing the realization publicly helps lock it in. You've effectively removed the last comfortable corner for that illusion to hide.
Zenson, this has been incredibly insightful. For our listeners, let's leave them with that guiding question you always propose. If your awakening has an escape route, is it really an awakening? Or just another fleeting insight?
Yes, that's the key. The real hallmark of a successful no escape moment is that there's no comfortable way back to the old illusions. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it.
And that's precisely the gift you talk about in The Reluctant Architect, designing these unreturnable corridors of clarity so that the only path forward is a deeper, more authentic understanding of reality.
Exactly. Because too many influencers offer short term inspiration, but leave escape hatches wide open. If you truly want to help people awaken, you have to design these no escape scenarios ethically, empathetically, but also decisively.
Well, that's our challenge to all of you tuning in. Ask yourself, are you ready to guide someone or yourself to that locked corridor of truth where illusions cannot survive? If so, definitely check out Zenson Tran's book, The Reluctant Architect Engineering the Collapse of Human Illusions. You'll find more strategies and examples to make these moments happen, responsibly and powerfully.
Thank you, Jessica. And thanks to everyone listening. Remember, illusions crumble when they can't hide, and it's up to each of us to shine that light.
You heard it, folks. Until next time on Illusions Unraveled, stay curious and don't be afraid to walk right up to the edge of your beliefs. There might be a no escape moment waiting that could change everything. Bye for now.